But so we talked about Netflix, and I feel like that was like the biggest controversial thing out of this. But let's get into Avatar Studios from Nickelodeon. So what we know so far, it got announced in February 2021. The original creators are a part of the production. They're supposed to be making a movie, not live action, but the 3D CGI type movie.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Another 2D animated series is supposed to be coming out. I'm not sure what it's going to be about. They said it'll release sometime in 2023. Also, the original creators said that it may be some years before we actually see something from Avatar Studios. So,
right.
I guess this is where a lot of theories and hypotheticals could come from, just because they have not confirmed anything. But to get into,
so is the CGI movie, is that going to be based on Last Airbender, or
we don't,
is it some totally new thing? Okay, we don't know. Okay, I wasn't sure.
I don't know. They just said, when I was looking around, they did have Aang's face on it, so maybe it'll be Aang and them. I don't know. But some things that I want to see out of Avatar Studios is, I really want to see them do the comic books.
I was going to say that.
All of the content that came out of after book 3 that explored them dealing with problems after the war, as well as them still growing up. They did touch on some interesting stuff. Like, the first thing they touched on in the comic books is Zuko as the Fire Lord.
A leader. Yep.
And him trying to get adjusted to ruling, and him dealing with the only example that he has of ruling is his dad. And also coming off the fact that, I'm buddies with the Avatar now. I've turned a new leaf. I've been redeemed. You know what I'm saying? Other big things they touched on in the comic books was the whole mystery surrounding Zuko's mom. And that was a good portion of it. And then there's other stories. They even did the same thing with Legend of Korra that touched on like the aftermath after making that big ass spirit portal. The consequences of Kuvira's actions, and Korra and Asami's relationship, which is also something else I want to see, but I want to talk more on that. Other thing I want to see is maybe we just get the next Avatar. It's been a minute since Legend of Korra ended, so maybe just expanding on the next Avatar would do some good. One, more technology advances. Like, Legend of Korra was kind of more so like the industrial age. What type of age will we be in with this next Avatar? How is this next Avatar dealing with the fact that the only one that he can talk to is Korra?
And also, there's a theory that because of how stuff ended in season 2, that we might potentially get a dark Avatar the next time the Avatar reincarnates. Since Rava's, I forgot what the dark one is called. Rava's the light one. Vaatu. Since Vaatu was bound with the human when he died, so it's
maybe he did pop up.
This is my first time hearing that theory. That's interesting.
But I like that. I like
McMillian has been employed by Netflix. We're gonna have to wait and see.
Avatar Studios is on my payroll. That's what's here.
He's on the Avatar Studios payroll. I'm on the Sony payroll.
That was the most interesting hypothetical I heard. Wait a minute.
He pulled something out like that one.
I mean, I personally been thinking that ever since. I thought we were going to see that before the end of Korra, that we were going to see like a dark Avatar. Technically, we did with her uncle, but like I'm talking about, I figured in my mind, I don't know where else they could possibly. There are other things they could probably do, but I feel like that's such a big question mark thing.
Like an even Avatar cycle.
When Vaatu died, because when Vaatu died, he was combined with Korra's uncle, and technically, if Rava can reincarnate, so can her counterpart.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then you got that whole balance of good and evil going on in this series. That would be dope.
That would be fire.
Would it be? Would it be like the exact same elements? Would they be
I'm not
altered?
sure.
That would be
I guess it would have to.
I don't want to.
See, now you asking
I
too
don't
many
want to turn
talking about the
questions.
cycles.
Wait,
You're talking about the cycles.
wait. I don't want to turn this episode. This is Folks' episode that she want to talk about the studio, not my theory.
But you piqued my interest.
Yeah,
Hey,
you
you
said
did
something with that
though.
one.
You did something with that one.
I understand. I was just mentioning it since she talked about the next Avatar. I can tell y'all off camera or whatever, but I don't want to take away from her.
I get you. I guess just to keep it smooth. Since he did bring that up, because some stuff I am interested in with, because after they did have that whole fight between the two spirits, we did not hear anything else from Rava at all in Korra. It was just like she was just gone.
Well, it was one, because I'll give you that, because at the beginning of season 3, we get no Rava Korra interaction, and we don't get that interaction back until season 4. But partly is because she got beat the fuck up at the end of season 3. She did a thing though, but she did get paralyzed. You know, she went through her whole little thing. But
also, season 3, I think one of the reasons we didn't get to see that much, season 3 is not focused on Korra like that. Season 3 is to me, season 3 almost feels like it's told from the point of view of Zahir and Tenzin's oldest daughter. I forget her name.
And
Jinora.
Jinora.
I feel like almost they were the main characters of that season, to be quite honest.
I'll give you that.
And I love Zahir.
Yeah, it was just it was just weird to see, just the fact that she really did just mess up the entire Avatar lineage, and we're not gonna talk about this at all. Like, we're just gonna move past that. Like, this just didn't happen. But that's something I hope they expand upon with the Avatar Studios. Like Push was saying, maybe it is time for the next Avatar. See what's going on.
But I would feel like the next Avatar would be the only way they would be able to touch on that, because
correct.
With the Avatar cycle being so sacred and so inclusive to the Avatar, I'm not really sure how in Legend of Korra they would have been able to touch on the ramifications of that. And
just to add to that point, if when we get the flashbacks in Korra, we see the only other Avatar who was able to talk to Rava was the first one.
Yeah.
So besides Korra herself, it didn't seem like many of the Avatars could talk to Rava.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see if they do when they come out with the next Avatar generation, if we actually get to see what talking to Korra is like, as well as Rava, because I think that's something to explore more on.
I think that's the only way we would be That's the only way we would be able to see the true ramifications of what happened at the end of season 2.
So I got a question, because the general assumption, it seems like from my perspective, is that everybody assumes it's going to be a sequel, like post Legend of Korra events.
I'm not assuming. I would just think that would be something nice for us to see.
So that's all about to ask. Is your preference sequel to Legend of Korra or prequel to Aang and Korra's existence? Probably not necessarily Roku or what's the Earth Lady Kyoshi, but probably even far back.
I was just about to say, what I think will be interesting is they don't even have to do like multiple seasons. They can do like one season per, like, of any Avatar we haven't seen before. Just tell us a different story with some of the Avatars we haven't seen before. Even if they did want to do Kyoshi and Roku, I wouldn't be against it. But
so that's actually what I was thinking, that the animated series maybe is going to be an anthology where they spend one season on past Avatars that probably came before Aang and Korra. Because when Aang was on the Lion Turtle and he went far back to even to like the last Air Nomad, that piqued a lot of people's interest. They were like, I wonder what they dealt with, or what was their problem? Because technically the only Avatars we know their issues with were Roku, Aang, and Korra.
Well, they touched on.
Technically, we know, and the first one.
They touched.
Technically, we know what Kyoshi was fighting against, and like what the Waterbender got. But like that sounded like that was somewhere either in the middle of their lifetime or at the end.
Yeah.
So I feel like the animated series that they're talking about could be an anthology series where they explore the past lives of Avatars and see what they dealt with.
And I would.
They did touch up
I would be interested in that.
In one of the comic books, I can't remember which one. I think it was The Rift. They did touch on Yang Chen, which is the last Air Nomad one. They did touch on her a little bit because something that she dealt with during her time as Avatar came back up.
Okay. I haven't gotten a chance. I own the Rifts, but I haven't had a chance to read.
Yeah. So something that she was dealing with as the Avatar came back up with Aang being the Avatar, so he had to go back to her memories and see what went down, so he can solve it. So they do touch on her a little bit, but I agree, maybe some background into, because the Avatar cycle is an interesting thing, because the Avatar that comes after always has some type of trait or some type of quality that is opposite to the one before them. So we only know like Kyoshi, Roku, Aang, and Korra. We can see that heavy correlation, but maybe to even go back further of why Rava made the decision to choose opposites as she reincarnated would be something interesting to look into.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to see, and these are personal opinions, Azula's atonement. I don't want her to have a redemption arc because she's too far gone. If you read the comic books, she is too far gone. In my personal opinion. Like maybe if they started a redemption type thing after the whole thing with their mama, sure. But then she started kidnapping folks, cheering, and I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, I feel like she's a bit too far gone to have like a redemption. I would change, because I was down for a Azula redemption arc, but I've changed my mind, and I guess I want to see some type of atonement. And the best,
I would. Does she show up in the Rift?
No.
At all? No? Okay, so if that's the case, I almost want to say that they could even give us a mini Azula series, because I would like to know, because I know she just died somewhere.
She doesn't die. She disappears at the end, and then she comes back. She comes back in Smoke and Shadows, and that's when she starts kidnapping kids.
And then I don't remember if they captured her or not.
No.
Yeah, so that's what I'm like. If it seems like the comic books are ending with the Rift. I haven't heard if they announced a
They
new
made
one
another one. Where does Imbalance? So there's an
Imbalance. Oh no, Imbalance. Sorry, Imbalance. So Imbalance. Oh, so with the Rift, I did finish. Imbalance is the one I haven't finished. Imbalance. If I'm not mistaken, I think Imbalance might be the last Avatar that's ever been in a comic book. And if that is the case, I haven't seen her in that one.
She's not in that one.
Yeah, so if that's the case, I would think an Azula series.
Azula series would be nice, but I guess I'm saying her atonement because Azula is a very interesting character. And on a high level, yes, she is the villain of the series. She is a menace to Avatar society. But at the same time, she was a 14-year-old girl, and she was affected the same way by Ozai as Zuko was. She just took... Even more so than the fact that she was favorited by Ozai, and she felt like she had to be perfect. And, like, even going back to the end of the series, when she finally snaps, like... She took the whole thing in a different direction. And the reason why I say atonement is because she did a lot of bad things. And I just don't want to see yay, Azula's good. That's it. I want to see the type of, like, how My Hero is doing Endeavor's atonement. Like, everybody's not like, yay, you want to be good dad. Like, you're going to have to show me something. And you yourself have to want this redemption. And I feel like if she ever, wanted to turn a leaf, I feel like she deserves it, because going, like, clinically insane at 14 years old just sounds like some batshit crazy stuff to me. I mean, you understand to the point how she got there, but I don't know.
I agree. As far as, like, I don't necessarily say I want, like, a redemption.
I don't want a redemption. I feel like that's too easy.
But I would like to see what, after that whole plan where she was trying to take back the Fire Nation from her brother, I would like to see what she got up to afterwards, and if she did atone, or if she like had some horrible death somewhere or something. Because they talk in Korra. We don't hear if Azula had any descendants or anything like that. So
nope.
It's like,
we don't even know if she's alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, like, what might have happened to her? So
I would like to see a dark ending for her. I love her as a character, but I would love to see a dark ending for her.
Yeah, or even just maybe she just she chilled out. Maybe she, she had a bad day. She peaced out.
Fight to the death, get struck in the neck or something.
Yeah.
She stabbed Avatar in the back with a lightning bolt when he was going into
That was the coldest scene.
Like I love Azula as a character, but she deserves something horrible.
She got my respect that episode because every time Aang went into the Avatar state, ain't nobody want to confront that man. Azula was like, "Let me show y'all something." She was like, "Let me show y'all something."
She said, "Ain't finna be no power up today."
Right.
But she did what I feel like a lot of villains should do. Why are you going to sit here and let the hero power up? Strike him in the back.
Yeah.
But she wrong for that. She deserves something.
True.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I want, this is my last personal opinion. If they ever expand on Legend of Korra, I would like to see more of Korra and Asami's relationship. And I'm not talking about like no mushy gushy type stuff. I'm just saying like when Legend of Korra ended in 2014, they confirmed that they were in a relationship, but you really don't get much from a scene of them holding hands. But that's the best that they could do because they weren't showing same-sex relationships in cartoons like that. But now at the time, we're evolving. Like Steven Universe. She-Ra is a big example. Disney just confirmed their first bisexual character in Owl House. In their same-sex relationship.
They've had a non-binary character as well. If you remember Ida's friend, I forget their name.
Yep.
I think that Clarence series, one of the characters got like 2 moms or something. I can't remember. I never watched that.
And She-Ra, one of the characters has 2 dads. So we're getting more comfortable showing same-sex relationships, or LGBTQ+ characters in cartoons. And I feel like because that is a part of Korra's character, I feel like they need to expand on it. And I want them to expand on it in a sense of what does it mean to be a bisexual character in the Avatar universe? What does it mean to be gay, lesbian? What does it mean to be queer in the Avatar universe? Because they explore.
So you like to see them really explore like those political,
They explored some of it in the comics because Kaya, Aang and Katara's daughter, they didn't confirm if she's a lesbian. She just mentioned that she had a girlfriend, so I'm gonna take it as lesbian. But she mentioned how in the Air Nation, they're all about free and expressing themselves. They didn't really have a problem with it. The Water Nation, they don't have a problem in it, but they like to keep it on the hush hush. So these were all the DL folks be in the Water Nation. And the Fire Nation, they were cool with it at first, but when Sozin took over, they basically became homophobic city number 1. And I don't remember what they said about the Air Nation, if they said anything, but...
You mean Earth?
Earth Nation. Thank you. If they said anything. But I would really want to see that. Not only what's it like being queer in the Avatar universe, what does it mean to be the Avatar and to be in a same-sex relationship?
Yeah, like
because
what are their like expectations of you?
Right. Yeah. Because she's already... she already gets a bad rap and outside of the series and in the series because she is a female Avatar. Yeah. So now you add on the fact that she's bisexual and she's the Avatar. What is that dynamic like? And then what is that dynamic like for Asami? Because Asami is dating the Avatar, and you're in this same sex relationship with the Avatar, and you're the CEO of this high company. Like, does she start losing investors? Like, that may be going too deep, but does she start losing company support for stuff like that? Or how do they deal with because I will say that the threats in Legend of Korra are a bit on a larger scale than what they were in Aang's time. So how are they dealing with that type of stuff while trying to balance a relationship?
It would be interesting because that could add a whole lot of level of story elements if they continue Korra's storyline.
Yeah.
Because each nation essentially has like their own culture, and then Republic City is like New York, LA, like melting pot of all of those cultures coming
Right.
into one. So that would be some interesting story elements. Because the series y'all named, the different series y'all named, I never really saw much of that. But one series I really like was The Magicians, and they really explore like a college campus, like kids exploring their sexualities and everything. And it was interesting. Like I never thought to see it, but like seeing it being brought to life, it was like, oh wow, like this is stuff I see on my campus, and it almost made the series a little bit more relatable. Not gonna lie. So that would be like very interesting to see that in Korra's perspective.
Yeah. That's my big thing, and I feel like it would just be a disservice to her character as well as the people who felt a connection with
her,
Korra,
honestly.
especially with her coming out as a bisexual character, or her just being part of the community. It would be a disservice if they brought back Legend of Korra and did not include that as part of her character.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
It was funny though, because I remember when that scene first came out, it was like, wait a minute, Korra got a girlfriend. I was like, that's not obvious. like, that's not obvious. like y'all didn't see that? Was I the only one see that? Y'all
I
didn't
mean,
see
I
them, like,
guess
get real
they
tight?
made it. They made the scene to where you could assume that they're dating,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it was like, well, they're just holding hands. They're really good friends. Okay, all right.
If you're not living under a rock,
we must
if
not
you're
been
not
watching
living under a
same
rock,
show.
you knew what was going on.
We must not have been watching the same show, but that was me. So what are you guys expecting to see out of Avatar Studios?
I already talked about some of the stuff I was expecting to see, but I guess the last thing that I would like to see is some more stuff, like you were saying earlier about the Avatar gang and what happened after they defeated, the Fire Lord and stuff like that. Because for one, they never touched. At least I don't think they did. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the comic books, they ever touch on how Aang or Sokka died?
They don't get that far. They're still kids.
We don't know how they died, dude.
And Korra, I believe they said how Aang passed
I
away.
don't think so.
I think it was like
they don't mention how he kicked the bucket.
They never said how they died.
So if I'm not mistaken, they never mentioned how Avatar Aang died, either how and as well as how Sokka died. So I would like to see what happened with that. Did they die in some battle? Did they die of old age? Because as we see, Katara, she's still around here kicking it, but so is Toph as well. And it's just like but what happened to the guys? Why are they dead but y'all still alive? Not to say like y'all should have died too, but
so it is mentioned in Korra how Aang died. Apparently, his time in the iceberg caught up to him eventually.
I don't recall them talking about
they
that.
They didn't say that in the series.
It.
What episode?
When did they say that?
They ain't said
that. Tell me which, because I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Show me that,
because I don't recall.
I do remember doing some research and they mentioned it, that his time in the iceberg did catch up with him, but I do not remember them saying that in the series.
Not at all.
Piggybacking off of you, I don't remember seeing that, so I'm gonna ignore that. But you gotta show me that. but piggybacking off of what Alex said, honestly, I have not read the Legend of Korra comic books. I'm very familiar with that and comic books. I haven't read all of them, but I'm very familiar and understand what happens in the story. I would like to see those come to life, but I would be interested also in Aang's adulthood, because seeing Republic City come into creation, like they essentially went from like medieval. Would that count as medieval times, or no? What's it called? Imperial, like Japan, China.
Mm-hmm.
Like they went from that time period to the industrial age. Seeing the industrial age come to life and all the stuff that comes with that, like the creation of the different gangs, how the White Lotus got a lot bigger. This was like a whole secret society, Illuminati secret society at first.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they couldn't have stayed secret after they freed Ba Sing Se. So,
but that's what I'm saying. Like seeing them become a little bit more active and even looking into their lore.
Maybe what Ryan is saying is that at the beginning of Legend of Korra, Korra is being kept in the Water Nation and is being watched by the White Lotus. So maybe how did they go from Secret Society, even though they did reveal themselves, how did they expand from Secret Society to guarding the next
Protectors
Avatar?
of the Avatar.
Right.
Like that'll be a lot of lore that you could get basically be exposed to seeing Aang's adulthood. Now that doesn't necessarily have to be like a full 4-season series.
That could be a movie.
But I wouldn't mind seeing. Yeah, that could be a movie. That could be one season. I would like to see something like that as well.
I agree.
If it was just what would we be looking forward
So
to?
the interesting thing, this is my little tiny theory. At the end of the Imbalance comic books, they ended up in some city, and they did their thing. They resolved the conflict, but it kind of gave me the vibes that the city that they were in at the end of the Imbalance comics was going to be Republic City, if not the model of what Republic City was going to be. Because that city that they entered in that comic book was a mesh of all of benders, non-benders, as well as a mix of benders from all 4 nations.
Okay.
Which is basically what Republic City is.
Right.
Yeah.
And Republic City, the land that it's on, was originally part of the Earth Kingdom, right?
Yep.
If I remember correctly. Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. If anything, like if we had like 2 seasons worth of episodes, see the comic books come to life, that could be the movie, in my opinion, or like portion of them. See Aang bring up Republic City, see him die, see Sokka die. Boom, we can transition to something completely new, at least for me as a fan.
I want to see how Suki dies.
Korra's adulthood.
They said Suki died young. That kind of hurts my feelings, but.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently. So the information I said, it was mentioned after the fact, or somewhere in between Korra, but it wasn't mentioned in the show.
Yeah, Thought Million. Get your facts correct.
It was the writers. Huh? It was the writers explaining it. My bad.
I said.
I could have sworn that information was given in the show.
Thought Million trying to make us lose our minds. Like, we know that they said that in that show.
Because I would remember they said something about my
I
boy.
would have remembered that. I would have remembered that.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's pretty much all I got for really what I want to see and what I would like to see from the Avatar Studios.
What about you, McMillian?
Anything. Anything. I am such in love with the Avatar universe.
Oh, you one of them.
Like, series. Well, I mean, as an example, they came out with a tabletop RPG, and I instantly bought the highest version of it that you could. Like, I am very well into this series. If they decide to go with the comic books, I think that'd be great, because everything after the show, from I believe the first couple of comic books definitely need to be adapted into something.
Yeah.
Because they basically expound upon the characters, and also the last question that was asked at the end of the series, where's my mom? Like that was a huge cliffhanger, and people need to see. I feel like that needs to be animated.
Yeah. Personally.
But besides if my theory is correct about the whole new Avatar and the Dark Avatar also existing within the reincarnation lines, if that happens, that'd probably be my perfect thing. But besides that, I think the anthology series of the past Avatars would be good, because it would be able to show us what past Avatars had to deal with, because what led? I think the reason that would be very interesting is because I would like to see what led to the society that we got in Avatar: The Last Airbender. What did it take to get to there, as well as opposed to saying when you see after ATLA what led. In the comics, you get to see what eventually led to Republic City in the age of Korra and stuff like that, right? So it would be interesting. The anthology series, I think, would be interesting just to see what led to the society that. How Aang, what led to the society in Aang's time or Roku's time, very much so. How was royalty handled in different kingdoms? Because for instance, they touch on Ba Sing Se is a huge superpower within the Earth Kingdom. Well, how did Ba Sing Se come about? So that would be an interesting thing.
I was just about to touch on that.
That whole
what you was about to say, Ryan?
Oh, I was going to say that's just that whole time period when Aang was frozen.
Yeah,
would be an interesting series when we didn't even have an Avatar.
Well, see, that's why I was the tabletop RPG is interesting, because they have in the tabletop RPG they right now, if I remember correctly, they cover they cover 4 different generations, which is I think it starts with Kyoshi, Roku.
Yeah.
The time before Aang was while Aang was frozen and missing, they cover that time period as well. So there's probably potential that they have some excerpt of what that time was like within that when that game comes out. They will probably get to see. because it's official. It's licensed by the same people who created the show. So.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up because I think I think I remember them talking about it, but like, the main reason that the Fire Nation couldn't really take over was because of Ba Sing Se, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was the hold up.
But other than that, like, why did it really take them 100 years just to beat Ba Sing Se, or even vice versa? What took them 100 years to even what allowed them to keep defending their nation for 100 years? That would be interesting to see.
Because they ain't have Azula.
And airships didn't exist at the time. I know that was another one.
Or them drills. They big technology.
Oh no, the drill. Wait, didn't the drill? I don't remember. No. The drill was
that huge one was created for that fight.
For that purpose, yeah.
I wanted to touch on the Ba Sing Se. I think it would be interesting because this ties in a little bit with Kyoshi's story. How Ba Sing Se became a superpower and how the Dai Li started. Because the Dai Li was started by Avatar Kyoshi.
Yoshi, yep.
And then, so you have this police force made by Avatar, but now they're brainwashing people?
I'm pretty sure that's some stuff they did after Kyoshi died.
I think Kyoshi might have been for it.
I'm pretty sure, or if she was for it. Whether it happened,
as we saw in her past, she was like, "I'll do anything to keep."
She could. Hey, now that you bring that up, she might have been.
It could have been something like she partnered with this guy, and it was like, "You're gonna be chief of the Dai Li, and you can. I want you to do anything to keep the peace." And he was like,
Bet. Kyoshi might be a little evil though. She might be a little crazy.
I don't think she's evil. I think she's just
chaotic neutral.
She was that type of Avatar that I kind of compare her to Ra's al Ghul, because Ra's al Ghul is that character, like, he doesn't kill for like no reason, or he doesn't do these plans just for the sake of doing it.
Lawful evil, basically.
Right. So I feel like she was that type of character, like, yo, Kyoshi, they're beating people in the back. Well, they stole, so let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was that type that was like, you do what you got to do, baby. So, what's up, y'all? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get more updates from the mob. For the full discussion and more discussions like this one, click the link in the description. Thanks for watching.
Rock with it, let me pop my shit. Let me pop my shit. Hands up.